7:15 in the afternoon. Flag salute with Mayor Bloom.
I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Amendola?
Here.
Ms. Glasser?
Here.
Ms. Dammit? Mr. O'Brien?
Here.
Ms. Perry?
She's here.
Okay. Mr. Lavasser?
Here.
Ms. Amendola?
Here.
Mayor Bloom?
Here.
Solicitor Gladys?
Here.
Ma'am, John.
I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing regarding draft ordinance number 1634, regulating the keeping of chickens in the borough of Grafton.
So moved.
Second.
And we can open the discussion.
Okay. How many witnesses do we have listed?
And I believe there are two that I told you didn't have to sign this sheet, and actually, you don't necessarily have to, but I will include you when we go through the list. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
That works. So you want to take them in order?
John Reese, please step forward.
Hello.
Mr. Reese. We're going to have you sworn in by the court reporter.
Will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you're going to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Can you please state your name and your address?
Yes, my name is John Reese, 37 and a half Norma Street, Grafton, PA.
Okay, Mr. Reese, what do you have for us this evening?
Well, I just wanted to start off by telling you guys I don't have any desire to keep chickens myself, but I wanted to share some of my experiences of my neighbors who have kept chickens, both currently and in the past. The first story I have to tell you is my neighbors live directly across the street from me. They've kept chickens. They don't live there anymore. They moved away a couple years ago, but they kept chickens for several years. And again, lived directly across from me. Never had any problems with noise or odor or anything like that regarding the chickens. In fact, their dogs were more of a nuisance, and they weren't even bad, but the dogs were more, louder than the chickens. And my second story I'd like to tell you is my current neighbors who live 2 doors down from me are currently keeping a half a dozen chickens or so, and I would have never known it had I not noticed them in the back corner of their property. So I've never had any problems with any of my neighbors keeping chickens, either in the past or currently, and I would be in favor of allowing residents to keep chickens within reason, reasonable number.
Mr. Reese, have you had a chance to review the proposed borough ordinance?
I have not.
Okay. And would you be willing to answer any questions from members of council, should they have any?
Absolutely.
If anyone has any questions for the witness?
No questions.
Seeing none, Mr. Reese, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Philip Tompkins.
Will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you're going to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you for taking time to review this. I'm Philip Tompkins. I live actually in Freeport, Pennsylvania. I own a business called Rent the Chicken. And I can be a subject matter expert on any chicken questions that you have. I have reviewed your ordinance here, and I think it's very spot on. You guys are addressing a lot of the issues that when people call me, they have questions about chickens. Part of the reason why they rent is because they're not really sure, and you've actually addressed all those types of questions. 2 to 4 chickens have less waste than a German Shepherd, and you know that neighbors don't always clean up after their German Shepherds. 2 to 4 chickens are less noisy than most dogs. In fact, what you've addressed in here is no roosters, and that's what creates all the noise that people are concerned about. You've addressed the issues there in section 404 about odor and noise. You addressed in 405 the predator issue that many of my customers ask. You addressed the feed and water situation for storage of the food and water so that you don't have a rodent issue. And those are very well written. You also addressed the issue of chickens running at large there in section 408. So you're not going to be having chickens just wandering around the neighborhood, which I think that many of the residents here in Crafton are concerned about. You've also addressed the coop design, that it can't just be made of scrap pieces of metal and whatnot. And I think that really speaks highly to the picture that people think about Crafton when they want to move here or do business here. So I urge you to vote in favor of this ordinance, and if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Do any members of council have any questions for Mr. Tompkins? Seeing none, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Tompkins.
Then we move on to Charles McGrogan.
Do you swear the testimony you're going to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
I guess I'm gonna be in the minority tonight, but I oppose this completely 100%.
Excuse me, sir.
Can you just state
Can
your
you
address?
state your name and
sorry.
address for the record?
Charles McGrogan, 1642 Crafton Boulevard.
Thank you.
Like I said, that I'm probably gonna be in the minority about this, but since last September, started noticing this noise. What could it be? Started doing video and audio documentary of this, and I have hours upon hours of these chickens. There's 5 of them, it's 2 blocks away, and it's extremely loud. I mean extremely. I have it, if anybody was here to see it. This gentleman's house didn't notice it was there, chicken coop. Next thing I know, it seems to be early in the morning between 7 and 8. These things go on for sometimes 5, sometimes 8, sometimes 10 minutes. But it's within the reason of dogs barking. Dogs barking and howling, someone has to be called about them. So if the chickens are doing the same thing, does that put that noise ordinance within the same account? I don't know. But I'd hate to wait the police time to come shut a chicken up. I don't know if it's only me, but they're loud. Thank you.
Wait, Mr. McGrogan. Do any of the members of council have questions for Mr. McGrogan?
You said that there's someone, how close to you?
You
You're
can see on the
Crafton
video,
Boulevard?
my back deck,
Okay.
it's probably not even 70 yards.
So are they on Crafton Boulevard as
No, they're in the
well?
back, they're off of, what's the street that we're gonna pave there?
Walnut.
Walnut. Yeah, it's the second to last house up on Walnut, so I directly look at the chicken coop. It's in their backyard. Come up the back alley, I don't know what the name of the alley is back here.
Okay, and you said there were 5?
I don't really know, I haven't walked down there, but there's 3 or 4 or 5, something like that. You can see them move around in the pen.
Any other questions for Mr. McGrogan? Thank you, Mr. McGrogan.
Thank you. And then we'll move on to Susan Shane.
Do you swear the testimony you're going to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. My name's Susan Shane, I live at 35 Bradford Avenue. I just want to say that I'm for having chickens in Crafton. I have to, they're great. They don't make any noise. I have letters from my neighbors, my surrounding neighbors, that are supporting me, and they'll vouch for that they don't make noise or there is no odor. So,
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Shane?
I'm not sure if this question is for you or not, but clearly you need a rooster for these chickens, right?
no.
Why do we not need a rooster? Maybe I just don't know the cycle of life, I'm not sure, but why do we need a rooster? Right, I know I should have asked
I
you,
know,
I'm
but
sorry.
I can answer the question.
That's fine.
I mean, if you
No,
want
there's no
chickens
roosters
for egg
allowed, but they can
production,
turn into hermaphrodites.
for eggs to eat,
I mean, are these
consumption, you don't need a
pets
rooster.
that you have, or are you harvesting eggs?
They're both. I mean, they're my pets and they produce eggs for me every day.
Okay,
But you don't need a rooster to have eggs.
so you just need a rooster
If you
to
want little
have
chicks, you need a
chickens,
rooster.
gotcha,
Yeah.
my bad.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any?
Why was class after?
Are there any other
And
witnesses?
did I miss one person, or did you sign this sheet? Did I get you? Okay.
Are there any other witnesses to the chicken ordinance? Going once, going twice, going 3 times? Thank you.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Actually, may I ask one
Oh.
question?
Sure.
We have some subject matter expert. I wanted to just get a little more information
Okay.
from Mr. Tompkins. Could you speak to the noise concern and the decibels for the quantity of chickens? So hypothetically, let's say we have a neighborhood where everybody takes the privilege to house the chickens. What type of situation, noise-wise, would we potentially encounter?
Sure. Some of your neighbors have small dogs that are pretty loud, and they yip a lot. When you start dealing with chickens, the only time they make noise is when they're about to lay an egg. And if I was gonna lay an egg, I think I'd make some noise too. And it's more of just a cluck, you know, they will go cluck, cluck, cluck. As the gentleman said before, that he would hear noises from a neighbor. I mean, I don't know his specific situation, but the way he described it is highly unusual from what I've experienced with chickens. If everybody in your neighborhood had chickens, I mean, you would hear some clucking every now and then, you'd hear some feathers every now and then, but in my opinion, it would be much more quiet than what noise that you currently hear from your dogs.
All right, and as somebody that's part of the, I'll say, the funny link here, the chicken lobby, anything with regards to species considerations or any concerns that you would like to bring to council's attention?
No, I think the ordinance is very well written. I do kind of question the need for a yearly permit. The city of Pittsburgh doesn't do a yearly permit. They actually attach the permit onto the zoning file for the property itself. So once chickens have been permitted in the city of Pittsburgh, they base that again off the 2,000 square feet, such as your ordinance has, but they don't require yearly. I guess what you're trying to achieve with the permit process is just to make sure that people that have chickens are registered with you so that you know which neighbors do. I personally don't see a need for a ongoing permit request.
Yeah, I think the annual requirement is, in our situation, is warranted just
Sure.
for incrementalism.
Sure.
So you know, if this turns out to be a nuisance for the neighborhood, that we have recourse and we can manage that.
But as for species, just about every chicken species is about the same. Some species lay more eggs than others. Again, the only reason why you would need a rooster is for fertile eggs. There's no reason for a rooster. There's more than 200 different species of chickens themselves. There's other types of fowl that some people may want to have in the future, whether it's quail or ducks or I don't know. But when it comes down to chickens, people use them as therapy birds. I've delivered to senior centers where they actually use those birds for therapy. So for seniors in your communities, they may find that beneficial for them to have chickens. We have a program called Coops for Troops that we've done through a business called Coop Dreams, where we supply birds for soldiers who have suffered from PTSD, and those soldiers have actually used those chickens as therapy for them. So it's beneficial not only as a pet, but it also is a food source that is close to the table for the people here, because in today's world, you don't know where all of your food necessarily comes from. But people here in Crafton, there's gardens here, there's people that make hand their own spaghetti sauce, and they're just trying to make one small choice and decision to help their family in all sorts of different ways.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I have a question too.
Yes, sir.
Oh, not for you. Gentleman in the back, Mr.
McGraw, has,
McGrogan, you have some video?
Yes.
Could we ask him to play about a minute of that video?
I have shorter clips of it because I'm not gonna, I have a lot on my iPad, but I took a small calendar and documented when this was.
Does
and
he have
how
some
long it was.
noise?
There's at least, I have 5 clips on there that are a minute and a half, some of them 35 seconds. It's just continual, so I
Can
just
we
stopped it.
listen to about 30 seconds?
You can pass it around and look to one clip.
No, we
I
don't want
mean-
to see it. You just hold it up to the microphone. We
Yeah.
can hear what you're,
No problem. Here.
and before you play it, tell me where the chickens are in
You can see in
relation.
relation to my back, my living room window, there's the coop right there, and you can pass around the console. I'm at least
This is
standing
you're on the deck.
I'm standing in my back living room window looking, my deck's below, I went down and took another video of my deck. And you can hear that, I mean, with my television's on the wall right there. That one goes on for about 45 seconds. This one goes on, you can see how far I am. This is in without any trees on there, and their pen is down 2 blocks away. The one video I have has dogs barking, which the dogs are actually drowned out by the chickens. And there's small dogs in the neighborhood. So, I don't know if these are rowdy chickens, but to be that far away and have leaves impeding the sound, and to be up on a hill, I was amazed by it too. I looked out my window, I said, what is this noise? And that was back in September, so I've been dealing with this since September 20th of last year. They were quieted down through the winter. When they put the blanket over the cage, they're null and void. But when they open that up and they start getting warmer in the morning, they start making a lot of noise. I hear the dogs bark, I can still hear the chickens.
And that's your back deck, and it's about 2 blocks away from where the chickens are kept.
Yeah, I'd say 2 blocks. Yeah, there's a small paper street, then there's a house with I'm gonna say a 50 by 100 lot, then it's the next house after that one. So there's 2 lots, it's 100 feet, the street, it's probably 500-600 feet away, and it's on the side of their garage. So I don't know if the chickens are echoing off their garage and coming back up, but there's a substantial amount of leaves back there. There's a ton of trees. We keep them there, they're shaded, it's nice. And you'd think that sound would be impeded a little bit by the leaves and the structures, but it's not.
Okay,
That
thank
might
you.
be just one case, I don't know.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
No further questions? I'll entertain a motion then to close the public hearing regarding draft ordinance number 1634.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. No other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So we're done with that public hearing, and
She's done.
okay. We'll move on then to, I'll entertain a motion to approve the bill list dated March 14th, 2016.
So moved.
Moved and second, any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
All right.
Aye. All opposed? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes dated February 22nd, 2016.
So moved. Second.
Moved and second, any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, and then we do have additional citizens' comments. Is this agenda item? Okay, so the additional folks that have signed up for comments, since it's not regarding something on the agenda, we'll actually take those at the end. Moving forward then to the solicitor's report.
Just like to thank the members of the public for showing up to testify for and against the proposed ordinance on chickens. We have two properties that are currently in litigation, 78 Fountain and another one that escapes my recollection at this point. Nothing is well, 96 Noble is pretty much done because of the code enforcement report that the structure's sound. 78 Fountain is scheduled for a statutory appeal hearing and for a tax assessment appeal in the next couple of weeks. And we'll keep you posted on those. And that is the end of the solicitor's report, unless anyone has questions.
Anyone have any questions for the solicitor? Okay, moving on then to zoning and planning. There's a notice that the planning commission meeting is Monday, March 21st at 7 p.m. They will consider the preliminary and final subdivision regarding 36 West Steuben Street. Philip, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
Not to the
Okay.
notice about the meeting on the 21st, and then the next motion is.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to authorize, advertise, one vacancy planning commission term expiring April 13th, 2017.
So moved. Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
I'll just add a couple comments. One of our former residents moved out of state, and that's why we have a vacancy open. I encourage anybody that would like to be a part of the roadmap forward for the community to engage and be part of the planning commission. We have a lot of exciting plans moving forward, no pun intended, and we're working with other members of council to reinvigorate the planning commission, and we have a borough manager that is keeping us on track and scheduling meetings. So keep the applications coming, and I also would appreciate some applications to consider. Thank you.
All in favor then?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Moving on then to Public Works, I'll entertain a motion to authorize Gateway Engineers to begin preparing plans and spec plans and spec pipe bursting contract, approximately 185, is that linear feet, of 24-inch pipe.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Is Rob is not here. Are we gonna, who's going to discuss the vacant lot, the 8 properties? Okay.
I did meet with the Public Works Director and the engineer, and we kind of, or the code enforcement officer, and we kind of came up with a top 8. We thought we'd start with the top 8, just because we wanted to get pricing and stuff like that. So we came up with the top 8, and we did receive 2 proposals, but those were not, I mean, they were significantly different in pricing, but the first one was just cutting the grass from the one contractor. The second one is removal of debris and dirt and tires and junk and trash and that kind of stuff. So one is significantly higher, but it's doing a lot more work. Then the other one is just basically cut the grass. That's it. So, you know, it's something that, you know, it's about $5,000 to clean up these properties. And, you know, we want to maintain them. They gave us a price which is significantly lower for maintenance of them. You know, maybe depending on the weather, the rain and that kind of thing. But, you know, we take down these properties and then we just leave it alone and nobody's going to maintain them. So then what we'd like to do is then maybe annually we put a lien on the property for whatever amount we've paid. So we have to pay it up front. Now, until that property is sold, we're not gonna get reimbursed for it. But we can place a lien on it. I mean, we're gonna place a lien every single time, but we do it at the end of the, maybe every annually, semi-annually, depending on the property.
Any questions?
Yeah, so is there a way that the public works people can help with this, or is it best to have it subbed out?
Well, we just thought for liability reasons, and there's a lot of dirt and debris, and, come springtime, they could do the maintenance, but these properties are pretty significantly.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the maintenance, but the initial
Maybe the initial, we could look into that, and that's a possibility, but I think the initial cleanup, we need somebody that's gonna commit to it. We got the swimming pool open and things like that, so, and it hasn't been done for years, so, I mean, they've always been the same, I just think that if we bring somebody in, clean them out, and, maybe next year we start on 8 more properties.
Yeah, do we have any erosion and sedimentation control issues or anything?
I don't think there is any, it's mostly trash and debris,
Erosion.
and, yeah, it's mostly trash and debris, so, I don't think they're not gonna be removing dirt or anything, moving earth or anything, so I don't think the ENS control is gonna be a problem, I think it's just more, dirt and debris.
Okay.
Thank you. We'd also then like to put on notice Noble Avenue, the water line replacement from White Street to Steuben Street, and that work is going to begin on Tuesday, March 15th, which is tomorrow. Any questions on that?
If there's no objection, can we maybe decide what we wanna do, or with the vacant lots, or is it okay to move on? I mean,
What do you think? Do you guys want to move forward with it?
With cleaning up the vacant lots?
Yeah. We're just trying to get solicit opinion. Should we put a motion forward to move forward with the cleaning of the lots?
Can we hold off?
Sure. We can.
Let's hold.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion then to authorize O&M CCTV inspection and cleaning 5-year final payment of $2,476.52.
So moved.
Second, any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to award bid to Shaycog for the 2016 O&M CCTV contract year 6, Red Zone Robotics Incorporated.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and second, any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I will entertain a motion to authorize release of retainage A Felino Construction, the 2015 road program.
So moved.
Actually, can I ask a question?
Just second
Or
first.
Second, sorry.
Any discussion?
Yes. And is there any concerns from the engineer?
Yeah, we had some concerns, that's why we maintained that $5,000.
Overall, everything's settled,
Yes.
Rob's happy, everything's happy. And this is, Clearview was part of this, right? The last phase of the Clearview project?
No, that's a separate
Oh,
project.
so that was a separate one.
That's a separate project.
Okay.
This is just the road resurfacing.
Oh,
It was
just the
held
road.
back because the alley behind Creighton, I can't think the name of the street right now, off of Creighton. Right by the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean, I
Yeah.
can't think of the name of the street. But anyways, there were some issues with, over there, and with a little bit of puddling, and they took care of it. So we just want to release the $5,000 that we own for retainage.
Okay. All in favor then?
Aye.
All opposed? I'll entertain a motion to adopt resolution 2016-03, administrative consent order revision to resolution 2015-17.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion then, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Sorry. like to discuss the municipal building?
We're gonna get a proposal to clean out some, the basement of the municipal building. I think council still wants to discuss it and receive some other, proposals. So I'll
Some
put it on the
additional
agenda, for maybe at the next meeting,
Okay.
on the 28th, whatever it is.
Moving on then to Parks and Recreation. Crofton Celebrates Executive Board is going to donate a bench to Crofton Borough. It will be placed in the park overlooking the ball field for firework viewing. Anybody have any questions about that or anything that they would like to add?
Thank you.
Does Alice have anything that she wants to add to Parks and Recreation? I'm sorry?
I think it's a very nice move here to do that. Thank you.
Okay. And then we can go to, there are no additional discussion items. We can go then to the additional citizens' comments. So Kathy, I know that he did mention it in his solicitor's report, so I'm sorry I didn't know
That's
that was
okay.
going to be part of
That's
it.
okay.
But if you want to go ahead with
Okay.
your citizen comments.
Talk about two things. Fountain Street, Sanchez House first.
So don't forget your name and your address.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kathy Weston, 74 Fountain Street, right next to the Sanchez House. About a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, police were there. My husband came home and the police come down our steps and he asked what was going on and he said someone called and said that there were squatters in the house, Sanchez's house. And they said they looked around, they saw nothing. So on Friday, my husband was coming home and our neighbor across the street from us said that she said, Jerry's back. And he said, what do you mean Jerry's back? He and another fellow were over there, they were inside, so maybe those were the squatters that they had seen, who knows?
Are we talking about 78 Fountain?
Yes.
Is that, okay.
I don't know the house.
That's the Sanchez house that you're referring to.
But it says condemned on there, so I called the borough, and the conversation that she said that they were having was, he was talking to somebody, and he said, don't worry, by Tuesday, you're gonna win this. I have no idea what they were talking about. But I called the, is it Dan?
Dave
Okay.
Morgan.
Right, and he said, if you see anybody over there, you call the police, because no one is allowed in there, including Jerry, including the owner. Is that right?
No one's allowed to be in.
It's a condemned.
All right, now, if it is condemned, what does he have, is it possible that he is gonna be able to get back in there? Being that it's condemned, what does he have to do, fix the whole thing up, or?
Well, anything is possible, but the likelihood is that we, well.
You don't have to say anything that you don't have
No.
to say, but,
Mr. Mole, could you address 78 Fountain and the status for?
Yeah, I can address it briefly. I've been in contact with counsel for Mr. Sanchez. He is
Can you
in-
just let everyone know who you are?
Oh, sure. My name is Matthew Bull. I'm an attorney with Welch, Gold, Siegel, and Pfiffick, solicitor
Thank
with
you.
Jim Gladys. And we work together on some of these projects. We actually have a meeting, site visit scheduled this week to take a look at the property on 78 Fountain. And that'll give us more direction as to exactly what we need to do to see how it's gonna move forward, whether he's gonna choose to fix the property up or how it's gonna proceed. So I'd like to talk to you further after the meeting here.
it's Jurassic Park is all I can tell you. I do, I have Jurassic Park right next door. The other thing that I wanted to ask about is, I know Mr. Bloom is familiar with your wife's house that she grew up. If you drive down Fountain Street, the road in front of her old house is a disaster. You can't miss it now because the cars are parked on the left. So you have to go over this. It's not just one pothole. It's the whole, like, I'd say, 2 or 3 houses run for it. So,
Is that the area where the water runs down from
is there
Promenade?
anything that you can make him do about that? In the wintertime, it was just a sheet of ice. And we have to crawl going past because there's cars parked on the left. Sue Solt blew a tire out coming past.
I thought that they had put a storm base in there to catch that water that, it's
I know what you're
it's a
talking about.
stream or whatever you call it, that comes out of the ground. So
It's
there's
a
just- Yeah, it's a spring, so
Right.
there's no way to stop.
I
Okay,
understand.
but the only thing that I always thought that they could do, the borough could do, was mitigate that particular area with that large, you know, like a catch basin that goes down into the storm. And-
Well, now it's not just the water, it's pothole. I mean, the whole,
Well, that's caused by the ice and everything that built up
you know,
over.
I saw the rest of the streets were gonna be fixed. Can you do something about that?
That's up to you
I
guys.
mean, right down Fountain, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Right at the
Thank you.
38, 39 font where the little alley goes down to the left.
Yeah, I mean, you can't miss it because the cars are on the left-hand side. All right, thank you very much.
Moving on then to Steve Sunderland. Hi.
Steve Sunderland, 106 Chartiers Avenue. I was down here in a meeting, I think it was in early June, and we kind of gave a pamphlet to everyone showing about a tree that fell on the line that caught fire. Our house
Lightning,
that caught
that
fire.
one.
Oh, yeah.
There's still a tree, this monster tree that's looming over my house. It's on city property. City has gone down, they had a meeting, it was Rob from Crafton. The city was there, Port Authority was there,
DC was there.
DZ was there. They all agreed to have the tree either topped or cut down, so it doesn't hit the wiring in. On August, or April 9th, it's gonna be a whole year. And that whole hillside is just caving in where that creek comes out. And it's just gonna be a matter of time that that tree comes down on my house.
I'll call Representative Deasy every time I see him. He always asks me if they ever cut that tree down. I go, no, they haven't. And he goes, so I can give him an email tomorrow. I can follow up with him
Yeah, I
tomorrow.
actually, I emailed him in December. He said, I thought it was taken care of. I'll have it done ASAP.
I'll email him again, and I can maybe even follow up and call the city too.
Oh, they're being real nasty about it.
I think pushing that would be a good deal because storm season's coming.
Oh, sure.
You know,
We're scared to death every
you know,
time.
if that comes down, that's gonna shut power off and.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, Dan and I mean, you know, Dan and I.
That's where they're looking at it.
So, I mean, I'll email him tomorrow, and I'll even call the city,
Right.
you know.
Sure.
Yeah, because I mean, if they can't do anything,
Sorry.
I don't know what to do. Thank you.
And then we have Susan.
Can I cover a smile? Susan Cheganowski, I live at 1753 Bar Avenue. And I think I was probably on the news a couple weeks ago because I had another theft at my house. It's just a running joke now. We just have thefts and it's like a constant basis. But I'm not focusing on it anymore because nothing's happening. So what I've been doing is I've been putting out a poetry box, which you might have seen on the news, I don't know. And I'm getting really good feedback from people that walk by or actually drive and stop and get out and get it. And so for the month of April, I'm putting like, trying to promote the idea of doing it, like getting more people to do it. So like in the borough especially, because what's happening on my corner is it's just bringing a little bit of art and beauty to the corner, which is actually really, really cool. And I like it, and I think Crafton in any area could use that. So for the month of April, I'm making these boxes, and I'm gonna have them for free for anybody in the Crafton borough that would like them. I'm just asking if possibly the borough would be willing to put it up on the page or something, or promote it in some way. I have a press release, I don't know if it's just so you have the details of it. But my daughters really enjoy making these with me, and we have a good time putting them out and giving them out to people. So if anybody, if you could have them at the borough building, or I could have them at like my house or whatever, but just to put it out there in case people would like to do it. Just April is National Poetry Month, so it's a really good time just to have it as a theme. I'm not asking the borough to do it or promote it for like a year or anything like that. But it's just a good way, a very easy way to bring arts to Crafton. in a very simple and absolutely cheap way. I don't put a wooden box out because it would get stolen. I know that for a fact. So I use these boxes that are free from Aldi and whatever, and I just make them, so anyone can have them for free, and I give the postage out for free. So it really would cost the borough nothing, but to put it up on the site if they wanted to. So that's all.
Thank you. I don't have anyone have anything additional?
Madam President, I think that you skipped over an agenda item for discussion items that was put on the agenda for the council.
We didn't have any additional discussion items. Did you have a discussion item that you wanted to speak about?
Yes, I had submitted something, which is why I thought we had added the discussion point at the end of the meeting. So yes, I did.
Well, let's talk about it. I think that it's a line item now. It's a line item, a new discussion item, and this is the time to bring it up. I mean, maybe we skipped over it too quickly, but you have some things you want to talk about, this would be the time.
Yeah, well, that's what was the point. I just thought that because it was new, it accidentally got moved over. But basically, I would like to put in front of council for discussion and to get some feedback and figure out how we might be able to do this, as we're all, we have a majority of new people on council, and we're trying to get a sense of what our, roles and responsibilities with regards to the committees that we've been assigned and that sort of thing. And in absence, so far I haven't been able to ascertain that we have anything in writing, guidelines of that sort of thing. And in absence of that, I would like to put up for discussion whether we could do something to develop that more fully, whether we could have maybe a workshop meeting or something like that. And really the same thing for policies and procedures, because I think there's been some confusion as we're all trying to figure out our roles, take on the responsibilities that we have been given by our constituency. So I'd like to open that up for discussion, please.
Well, I think the history on the committees is such that, in the old days, the committees were appointed. There were chairmen that were appointed to those particular committees. And the committees would often advertise and have meetings about their particular public safety or public works or parks and recreation. And, when the different boroughs and townships began using managers, the committees became less and less popular because the jobs of the committees were pretty much turned over to the borough manager. When I first came onto council, our president, Joe Hayes, sort of disbanded those committees and said, we are going to act as committees as a whole. All of council would participate in any discussion about anything. But he did name people to be sort of liaisons between, I'm the public safety liaison. I'm the liaison between council and the police department and the ambulance department and the fire department. Public works, same type of situation. So there are no committees that are on the books here anymore. They still call them, well, you're the chairman of public safety, you're the chairman of parks and recreation, but for the most part, there are no committees. The whole of council is a committee that has discussions and does things. So we don't have there was some confusion last year about
2 years ago.
2 years ago? Confusion about, well, when was the committee meeting held? Well, why wasn't it advertised? Well, there are no committees anymore. So the different appointments are people that are responsible for reporting back to council with items that are of concern in this discussion area, number 13, like we're having right now.
And the reason for those committees, people were not showing up to the meetings, they weren't being run like a true committee. So it was a lot of advertised but not showing up, things. It was just difficult because we met for council, and then all of these meetings, all of these tiny committees were trying to meet and get their times in as well. So, I mean, I wasn't here when the decision was made to end them, but having the liaison to be that spokesperson or that one person that can come back and bring the information to council and say whatever the subject is, we're interviewing for whatever, present it to council, but still as council as a whole is voting and making those decisions. It's not that decision of that committee person. So I feel like in the past it caused way more confusion because we are making those, we are voting and making those together as a whole and not individually. But the consensus of all of council seems to be that we wanted to continue those committee chair spots, which is why they were appointed. But our borough manager handles the day-to-day functions of the borough. She brings issues to us via our agenda items, things that we need to, bills that we need to pay, motions that we need to vote on. She brings all of that to our attention, and we talk about it, discuss it, and we vote on it. And if you have something additional that you want to add, or perhaps there was an issue in, I don't know, the police department, and so you as the chair met with the police chief, you discussed it, you bring that other information to council so that when we're discussing the bigger picture item, you have some insight. But all those little tiny committee meetings that were happening, we haven't done that for a while.
2.5 years.
So how do we hear back?
Okay, I'm not talking about the committee meetings, but I am talking about those very appointments that you're calling committee chairs, as to what are the scopes specifically. And where you talk about, yes, none of us can make decisions individually. We do govern. Everything we do has to be done as a group. But this talking about committees is really a very different thing than what, as Ann has directed me to the borough code, we have a responsibility. There's a couple of areas here. We have a responsibility to the borough code to define what the borough code calls executive departments that members of council are responsible for. And if the borough code allows individual boroughs to decide what they are and what works for them, in the absence of having something in writing, as a resolution, as an official act, the borough code specifies what those departments are. And we're doing neither one. And my concern is that as we're trying to come on and be those leaders, those liaisons, that we don't have clear guidelines, and my concern is that we are going to continue to stumble, that we're going to continue to have differences of opinion of what is appropriate and what is not appropriate to be doing. I'm also speaking not only of the day-to-day business of running the borough, but how do we as a council come together or create these committees, and we can speak at another time to whether people come to it, whether people who populate the committees or whatever, but how do we create an environment that begins to look not only at just getting the day-to-day business done, but to look at this community, at this borough as a community, and how do we give it forward motion? How do we give it vision? How do we give it leadership? How do we let our constituents who have elected us know what we're doing beyond the couple of lines of, I have a motion for this and we're passing that? How do we create community sense, transparency, visibility about what's going on, and really actually do something besides just take care of the bills and get what absolutely has to be done. That's what I'm talking about. There's two things. That the Borough Code says that we should have certain things. They define what they are unless we define it for ourselves. And this other piece of how do we, as a council, as individual council members who are responsible, whether it's just, right now it's just a word after our names that says, I'm finance, somebody else is public parks and recreation, somebody else is planning. But what does that mean? And how can the community know what that means? And what are we able to do? Now, I don't think it's something that we should necessarily be able to just pull together or have an answer for in this discussion forum that's, just a few minutes. I just want to put it out there, and I think that it's something that has to be addressed, both legally because of what the Borough Code requires, and what we want as a community and what our constituents want our community to be doing and how they want it to be done differently. My personal suggestion, but I would like to hear what all my other colleagues have to say about it, is that perhaps what we do is that we consider doing a couple of workshop meetings where we can discuss it and where we can get information and where we can put some kind of document, some kind of guidelines and procedures down on paper that we do agree upon, that we work on together, and that we agree on and vote on as a council, so that we have more clear guidelines, so that we don't have the problems and the confusions as we've all been trying to find our place and find what we are going to be able to do to help this community improve and move forward.
Okay.
I think,
I agree with a lot of the things that you said. I also agree that it isn't gonna happen right at this moment in a few minutes of just talking about it. So I would like to, yes, I would like to see something on paper in writing so everyone is very clear of what it is that is expected of them and what it is that, that we need to do to move forward.
May I ask a question? Manager, in your past experience, what's the most appropriate way to facilitate a workshop with council and the community?
this is our workshop right here. This is our discussion meeting. This is where we
Because
should
have
sit
to
and talk
advertise
about it.
it,
Yeah.
Because,
In the event.
You want to add a meeting, just to add a meeting, maybe?
No, I'm
this is our
saying
workshop.
to make a
It would be to
plan.
just specifically talk
Well,
about
no,
this.
or to say, hey, on this scheduled meeting this month, let's say, the second meeting of next April, we have a dialogue and we have the workshop in this discussion time, or the next meeting. That way, everybody's planned to be here for a little bit, so the community knows that we're gonna be here in the chamber, having this good discussion, and, if Dave has to make arrangements, or anybody else has to make arrangements to, for childcare, that, everybody's aware, and can plan accordingly. That's my suggestion, that we you know, I think it's a great conversation. We need to engage the community, engage in one another, and really work on some of these subjects. And I think it's a very healthy discussion.
I'm not sure if everyone has had the opportunity to read the Borough of Crafton Resolution Number 2014-11, which is out on
Yes.
Covey. Okay, so everyone has read it? Okay, so.
And that speaks, Madam President, if I might speak, to the way I look at that does not address specifically the committee/department, the legal aspect, that resolution really is about conduct of being respectful and not getting out of control. And it is a resolution that I know was passed when there were a lot of difficulties on council.
Yes.
With an eye towards moderating behavior in council.
Right,
And
right,
that's,
But we can take
talk
that.
about something beyond that.
Yeah, I'm saying.
We
Pardon?
could start there, we could take that, and then, you know, with the borough code, that indicates that, it merely states that certain powers can be delegated to committees provided it is ratified by council afterwards. We can look at that borough code 10064 and put them all together and come up with what we need to come up with. So everyone is on the same page, everyone has the same understanding, and everyone knows where they need to go.
Yeah, and I think it would give us all an opportunity to have our say, and if we have to make some modifications, amendments to the resolution, we can update it as needed.
I mean, I would be willing to.
Well, to keep it as simple as possible, we should just ask Mr. Gladys and Mr. Bowles to, you know, look that over and see how we should handle that, because there are no committees anymore. There are these, you're the finance person, Ms. Coletta?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, okay. So you don't understand what your job is?
I don't understand my job either, I'm administrator, and I have no idea.
Hold on,
What is
hold on.
this about? I mean, if I take this as finance and business, that means that I'm responsible for all aspects of finance in this borough.
Oh, no,
And that
no,
I
that's
have
that's not the case.
responsibility.
No, that's not the case. But I think,
No, hold on. I am responsible to understand it, to interact, to be able to answer to the community and to make
no, you
recommendations.
can't, you shouldn't be answering to the
borough.
community. No,
That's what that means.
that has to come from council as a whole.
And that's,
That has to come from council as a whole.
I'm not saying that excuse me, I am not saying that I can take action, but that I am responsible to know what's going on.
Okay, well, I understand,
And
sure.
that's my perception, and that means that I have the right and the responsibility to be asking questions so that I can understand it and to establish appropriate relations. Now, these are discussions so that I can advise, recommend to council, and to help move things
Yeah,
forward,
absolutely.
make recommendations about how things might be documented differently, etc. Now, I'm not saying that that is fact. I'm saying that with that one word, that's how a business person would take that to mean. Now, I don't think we have anything that clearly says that. So I'm not going to say, oh, that is my responsibility. I'm saying that we have a huge lack of information and guidelines about what these things mean and how that is, and what that means. And that we as a new council, or as any council, should be working on what's important to us and how we perceive it, and what we are officially going to, what is the official consensus about what all of these committees are, and committees, departments, the Borough Code, and I think it's chapter 37, talks about the executive departments, and they specifically talk about council members being responsible and what the default ones are.
Yeah.
And we need to do some work.
Well, I think the problem is that we keep saying,
I appreciate that because of the Sunshine and Open Meetings Act, that we can't just do this in, without, we need to be doing it as a council as a whole, and we have to be doing it in an open meeting forum.
Yeah, I see, there seems to be confusion with this committee thing. We have to keep this as simple as possible, and if we all agree, we can ask Mr. Pardon me? If we all.
There is confusion, that's why I'm asking for a forum.
Okay.
For us all to discuss it and to come to an agreement and to an understanding.
Well, does it make sense? Does it make sense that we come to a forum, we come to an agreement tonight to have Mr. Gladys and Mr. Bowles look at that and maybe change, eliminate the committees and call it something else or whatever? I mean, can there be a consensus because he's the guy, he's our solicitor, he's the guy that should be looking that over and figuring it out for us. The other thing I just wanted to mention was, you said that we had differences of opinions. And I think that's the democratic process here, there's not just one person running the borough, there's 7 different council people. And so differences of opinion are healthy for everyone.
Yes,
This council is.
Differences of opinions on, Fred, excuse me, Mr. Amendola.
Differences of opinions are okay.
We all have to be clear on so that we can conduct business without upsetting each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Stumbling on toes, without interfering with people, and having things feel as though they're inappropriate.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me just stop for a second. Let's let Mr. Let me stop you for a second. Let's let Mr. Gladys give us a little rendition of what he's thinking here about this.
Well, excuse me. My thought is that, the borough code is sort of a floor. And you can build on top of that whatever structure you want as long as you don't violate the borough code. What you are suggesting is a finer differentiation of how we're going to deal with some of the functions under the borough code. And as I said, anything that you want to do, as long as you're not violating that floor, you're free to build, okay? And if you guys are going to go beyond that floor, I'll certainly let you know, okay? But beyond that, it's what you as a council choose to build. And you guys were going to have to decide the most efficient way and what the considerations are to reach that efficient way. Is that clear enough?
Yeah, that's quite clear. I mean, one of the things that I would agree with Mr. Amendola is that we really do need you to look at the borough code in those arenas and to actually let us know if we're even at floor level, let alone building above it. And then to let us know about that. And I still put it out that I believe we need a forum, and Mr. Lavasser has agreed, and I'm thinking that Mr. Amendola is also in agreement that we find a forum where we can, outline these and get them more clear to everyone on council, so about what these things are or are not, and what our roles and responsibilities are, so that we're working in concert and not upsetting each other.
One of the,
So
One of
can
the-
I'm sorry.
Mr. O'Brien wants.
one of the things is, when there was a discussion on necessarily not having the committees or work the way they used to, one of the reasons was because the public was not showing up for it. And so we made changes, and when you think about that, it's sort of a flawed thought process, because there was nothing that was done to compensate for interacting with the community. Because in reality, the public is not here to serve us. It's not here to serve a role for the committees. The committees and us as representatives, we're here to serve the residents. And we must always have some sort of a policy or a process for them to be able to at least verify that we are representing them properly and representing them, for the benefit of the community, not just as individuals, 7 individuals who have 7 individual opinions. It has to represent the community, so they have to have the option and the opportunity to participate. If they decide not to show up, that's fine. But if they decide that they want to check in on something, they're interested in something, they need to be able to have resources or some sort of a record that we did our due diligence when it came to checking out whatever that topic is.
I would like to put a meeting out there, to advertise for a meeting, to have this discussion, separate from our council meeting, to have a separate meeting, to discuss it, to go further. Can we agree on a day? Do I need to make a motion?
What do you need a day for?
I'm sorry? I didn't hear what you
Disagree,
said.
we have these discussion meetings, we don't need additional meetings. We spent a year and a half finding a borough manager to manage the borough and to run our business here. And, when we get into micromanaging our manager, we get 7 different people coming in with this little thing and this little thing and this little thing, and she's putting out all these fires, and now we're gonna add more meetings. We have to keep this as simple as possible.
That's
If you
what I
schedule
wanna
a meeting,
talk about at
I
this
will
meeting.
come,
We'll talk about
and we
all
would
of
like the
this at
solicitor
that
to be
meeting.
there. But why not talk about it right now? I mean, what's there to talk about?
What is
Another
our-
meeting.
No, we're
What is
gonna
our
talk
job?
about,
What
we're
is
gonna
our
talk
job?
about.
Represent the people
Can I
and
have
make-
your attention?
and
We're
make
trying to do that.
Okay, wait.
We're gonna talk about what is the role of each one of those responsibilities. So as the finance committee person, what is your responsibility? Bullet points.
Right.
As the
Administrator,
administration,
I would like to-
what are your responsibilities? Bullet points. And it'll be
Okay.
clear, and we'll go through all of them and get it all done. He'll be here with us, ask questions, or whatever.
All right.
And it's done and over with.
You always win, okay. I'll come.
I'll entertain a motion then to advertise a meeting to discuss committee.
We gotta forget that word committee, we gotta forget that, we gotta change
I
it to
admit
something
there is
else.
a hang up on the word, on the committee word, so come with your suggestions on what to call these groups. So I'll entertain a motion then to advertise a meeting to discuss committee responsibilities / council responsibilities as a chairperson on where are we at? What's today?
This is March 14th. I mean, we could do it, next week is Easter, so. Then we meet on Monday. This is Seven Springs. Then we have a meeting.
So, you wanna do two? Want to do it then?
I don't care.
On Tuesday, April 12th. And the only reason that it is April 12th is because, just due to timing of the holiday of,
Easter.
and we need 30 days to advertise. Will that be cutting it too close?
Yes.
Okay.
I can put it in a week. I can get it in the Suburban Gazette. I just need to put it in for a week and I can advertise it. We can usually have a meeting within 24-hour notice.
I was gonna say,
Special
we've
meeting.
done that with our budget meetings.
Yes.
Okay.
We can have a special meeting.
Okay.
As long as I can advertise it, it only has to be advertised for 2 days.
Okay.
Okay, so April 12th same time as our council meetings, 7 PM. Is everyone okay with that?
7 p.m.
7, it doesn't matter, 7:15. Is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
So can I get a second and a
Second.
so moved and a second?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No,
So we're having a meeting on April 12th, Tuesday, at 7 PM to discuss your
I'll be here.
responsibilities as public safety chair. Thank you.
Right, and we'll be able to, get input from the solicitor about the borough code.
Yes.
yeah, he's a very efficient guy.
Thank
He
you
will-
very much.
I know he'll study it.
I'll entertain, I'm sorry.
One other thing, I wanted to ask, or put a motion on saying that Grafton hires the Grafton people first to work at the pool before we hire Ingram people. We do that.
Okay. So moved?
Second.
I think. Discussion.
Yes.
I think it's best to hire the person that's most qualified for the job.
And not our Grafton people like that.
Person that's most qualified for the job. That's my opinion. I mean,
So I'd like to see a motion go on and.
you hire a policeman, it's not someone just from Grafton or the most qualified person. So if somebody
don't
lives on Ingram Avenue and they're more qualified for the job, you think that we should give the job to the Grafton person?
Yeah, they pay
Over
the
the-
taxes, they pay the membership for the poll.
Well, okay, go ahead, I'll vote no, I don't care.
That's fine.
I mean, your defense, Ingram also pays membership to the pool. It's not just Grafton that pays membership to the pool.
Yeah.
But we don't have it in our hiring practices that you have to live in Grafton. So,
But it's always been up to the Grafton kids first.
according to whom?
I hired for 8 years.
So was your personal, you only
No.
hired the people that lived
No,
in
that
Grafton? It
was-
wasn't part of the ordinance
Sharon
though,
Gaten
so it
was
shouldn't.
with me, and that's,
I'm in favor
Mr.
of.
Phillip wants to say something.
It's the best person for the job.
I'm gonna take the moderate position. I think preference, obviously, to residents, and then based off of qualification. So you have to have, if you have two equal candidates that are of equal qualification, I think the preference, could go to the Grafton resident. However, moving forward, looking at the broader community development plan that we hope to be developing, I'd like to see more unity. So, there's argument to say that Grafton Ingram residents together should have equal weight over, let's say, a resident that's of the city of Pittsburgh or Robinson Township, et cetera. Does anybody else have any opinions on that, or that path?
What do you
I
think,
would
Dave?
concur with that. I would concur with that as well. That definitely preference, but ultimately best person for the job. So what you're saying, if I understand, is all things being equal. So if we have a candidate that is clearly the superior choice that doesn't happen to live in Grafton, that we're saying at this point, and I think that this may be another thing that we're just gonna have to, put up to discussion and consensus, and each new council actually has the right to do that. But that it's important to put the best person in the position as possible in order to serve the community. That we should not we should not forego better qualifications just to get someone who is from Grafton.
Thank you. I agree with that.
I agree.
There's a motion on the floor. I believe Mark's made it.
So there's a motion on the floor that says she wants to just hire Grafton people.
nothing on the agenda, yes.
would you like to add a little more resolution, a little more granularity to the statement, so, like, do you follow, the way I explain
Let's just vote it down and get it over with here, okay?
Right, your way, go for it, Fred.
Let's have the vote.
Good.
Well, there's
The
no
motion on the
second.
Running it,
There was.
go.
I believe Dave seconded.
Well, I think we just need more clarification
Right.
on the resolution, so could, Mrs. Damas, could you just,
What motion do you want to make? He's asking. What is the motion? Say the motion so that it's clear and everyone can vote.
The motion reads that the Crafton kids will be hired first, and if there's not enough positions, there's positions still open, that then we can offer it to Ingram and the city and Robinson then.
And we're talking about for the swimming pool. So the motion is, she said the swimming pool.
It just says swim pool. Okay.
So it is that Crafton residents will have preference over other candidates for the pool positions that are available. That is the motion on the table.
Okay, if we're limiting and what we're talking about are the pool, positions, then I'll second that motion.
okay?
So it's moved in seconds. So all in favor?
It goes for, on the agenda, right?
We're voting right now. So all in favor to only hire, or I'm sorry, to Crafton residents have first preference for pool positions. All in favor?
Yes, I will.
Would you
I
like
mean,
to do a roll call
as
vote?
long- I mean, we're talking about equal candidates, right? We're talking about equal candidates, qualifications, you know, the person's qualified, they're both qualified individuals. We're giving preference to the Crafton resident.
You're splitting hairs, but let's take a roll call vote. You're splitting hairs.
I'm confused on the motion then.
Oh my gosh, let's do this motion
Say it
one
one
more
more
time.
I'm confused on.
Marcia, your motion is to what?
Hire the Crafton residents first, and if there's positions still available, then we can offer them to the surrounding community.
And this is for pool positions.
All right, and are we talking about all positions, including manager, or are we talking about like the lifeguards?
No, we're just talking
and
about, the
swimming
summer
pools.
help for the pool.
And the manager, and the manager.
No, and management, but for the pool, we're just talking about the pool.
stuff? Okay,
Management of the pool and the summer help, the lifeguards and that whole setup,
Concession stand.
concession stand.
Now,
so, but what I'm wondering then is, I think how we choose a manager is a whole lot different. I mean, these kinds of guidelines, a lot different than lifeguards and, attendance and concession. I mean, we're talking, young person's positions that most responsible kids
Right.
would be equal.
Marcia,
Right.
I'm sorry,
And
I don't mean to
think
cut you
that
off.
may be different.
I mean, Pauletta, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. It's either a yes or a no. We're going to vote whether or not we are in favor of Marcia's potential motion on the table, and that is to give the pool positions to Crafton residents first. And if there are any positions left available, then we will go to whatever community the other applicants are from. So we are taking a roll call vote. Yes or no?
And this is inclusive of management.
This is all pool
For the
positions.
pool, for the pool.
Okay?
Thank you.
Roll call vote.
Mr. Amendola.
No.
Ms. Glasser.
No.
Ms. Damitz.
Yes?
Mr. O'Brien.
No.
Ms. Perry.
I believe Borough Code actually does not allow either Alice or I to vote when we're attending remotely.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you
You
can.
are allowed to vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can vote.
You can vote.
The only time it doesn't count is if there isn't a quorum.
Right.
So there is a quorum, so you still be allowed to
Yeah, you
vote.
can vote.
Okay, then no.
Mr. Lavasser?
Yes.
Ms. Amendola?
No.
Motion denied.
So the motion does not carry. You do not have to be a Grafton resident. Can he ask a question? Is this regarding an agenda item?
Regarding the hearing of the chicken.
What?
Yes,
I just wanna know the
additional
process.
comments,
I
I'm
just
sorry?
wanna- I just wanna- Yeah, right.
Can you
Additional.
just come up and?
It's over.
It's closed.
That's fine.
Hi, Dan Sendrick, 45 Creighton Avenue. Since you had the hearing on the chicken ordinance, can you tell the public what now the procedure and process is, the steps you're going to take going forward?
Yes.
It will be on the agenda for council to vote on it at a future meeting.
So there will be a motion on the agenda to vote whether or not to adopt the ordinance, correct?
At the next meeting or just?
What
We
will we do?
don't know that yet, do we?
Yeah, it'll be
At our next meeting.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to,
I'd like to, just one thing real quick.
yep,
When Mr. O'Brien was talking about council's responsibility, okay, this floor is the responsibility to the citizens, all right? Kathy Kane, she has a problem the council needs to address, okay? And from there, would be the chore to look into her problem would be assigned by the council. In the case of Public Works, this is a Public Works problem, whoever the Public Works chair
it
is,
would be me.
okay, would discuss with Rob and get out to look to see what can be done to mitigate her situation, if it can be done. She came to council, she didn't come to you, or she didn't come to Rob. So the responsibility of this body is to the citizens, as been said. Not a committee chair or nothing like that. She came to council, and she has a problem, so council's gonna have to address that problem, period. Not, we send it out to committee or whatever.
Right,
Committee
but
will look
I
at it,
can go
report back.
on her behalf, speak to
Exactly.
Rob, bring the information back to council, say,
Right.
here's what I've
Exactly.
found, here's what
Exactly.
this is,
But
here's what that is.
her form, or any other resident's form is right there, okay? You understand, they come here to report to all of the council members that here's the situation, whether it be the chickens or, any other thing. So, thank you.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, this is our last comment.
Jacqueline Levasseur from One Clearview. I just want to say I appreciate you taking the time to set another meeting to talk about the different committees and the committee heads and the discussion of what the committee means. I just want to include that maybe during that discussion, you talk about how you distribute the information to the citizens. Maybe find a more efficient way of getting that information to people so they are able to participate in these discussions and have something that's possibly easier to be able to receive the information by.
And I do think that there is that it is part, I'm sorry?
The agenda.
The agenda is part of on the website,
Mhm.
whether or not our
But, you know,
citizens
you
really go.
have your agenda here and it says discussion items. It's not listed what those discussion
No,
items are.
and it wasn't for this particular
Okay.
agenda.
Well, and then you also have, discuss, vacant lot clean 8 properties. It doesn't have a lot of information. So citizens who aren't here, and if you don't feel like you need to discuss it in detail, that's all the information that we get. Or at least that's all the information that I've found. So if there could be a better way of being a little bit more detailed for those people who want to look at the agenda before they come to the meeting in case it's something that they feel like it pertains to. So that's all I want to say. So
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
No problem. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned.